What's going on, Broncos country? Welcome into the Broncos Breakdown by Chat Sports. Matthew Peterson here, pitching 4 different trade ideas because we still got a ways to go until the NFL trade deadline. There's no clear buyers or sellers yet. But my train of thought is, might George Paton not have a ton of faith in this coaching staff after a rocky 1-1 start and figure, let's get some more proven talent on the field, because I don't know if we have time to wait around to see if some of these picks and free agents can develop as quickly as we would like. Now, we're going to run through all 4. I'm going to tell you right now, quick disclaimer. The first one is the biggest long shot of them all, so we had some fun with it. But it's Roquan Smith coming from Chicago to Denver. Now, here's the biggest issue when it comes to trading for Roquan Smith. The Broncos don't have very deep pockets when it comes to draft capital to offer up to the Bears. So, they don't have a first, they don't have a second, they've got 2 thirds. I don't think Paton wants to part ways with both third picks. So, a 2020 third, a nice case of Rocky Mountain Oysters, don't tell Ryan Poles what those are, and a good $25 Dave & Buster's gift card should get the deal done. Maybe a sweetener, might a Chipotle gift card really push it over, but the Broncos, at the end of the day, if Chicago decides to move on from Roquan Smith midseason, Denver is not going to be able to stack up to what some other teams could offer for the very talented off-ball linebacker. There is one thing maybe working in Denver's favor, and that is Roquan Smith has not had a very good start to this season. 11 tackles, has yet to really get after the quarterback, which he has been known to do so far with the Bears, and the nerds at PFF have just ripped him a new one. They rank him as the 73rd best linebacker out of 77. Really bad. Like danger zone red, 29.3. So that could make it a little bit more affordable, but still, I don't think the Broncos really want to move on from their first, second, or third round pick to start this upcoming draft. It feels like a long shot, but we were also told Russell Wilson wasn't going to leave Seattle. So things change in the NFL. Just like Tyreek Hill was never going to get traded from the Chiefs. But this current inside linebacker room for the Broncos needs improvement. Alex Singleton has been the best of the bunch, and he was figured to be the worst of the bunch between himself, Josey, Jewell, and Jonas Griffith. So, needless to say, even though Roquan has had a rough first 2 games to start the year, he would be the best linebacker by a mile on this roster. Now, here's the interesting thing I want to talk about. Kind of a quick injury update. Josey Jewell appears to be progressing well with that calf injury he sustained right before week 1. So, if and / when he returns, who's going to be the one that does not start anymore? Is it going to be Jonas Griffith or Alex Singleton? If you ask me this question in August, I say Singleton. You ask me this on September 22nd, I say Jonas Griffith. Put the jersey number for the guy you think gets benched when all 3 are healthy. Let's move on to trade idea number 2. More of an affordable linebacker. One we have talked about before, Deion Jones from the Atlanta Falcons. Deion Jones is a little tricky to trade for. One, he's injured at the moment. The Falcons are saying he is. If the Super Bowl was this Sunday, he would be able to play. I've got the Broncos sending over a future 5th-round pick. Remember, Denver only has 5 picks right now for the upcoming draft. They don't have a ton to offer. They also will be doing Atlanta a little bit of a favor, taking a decent chunk of change off of their books. Big difference between trading for someone preseason versus in the regular season is every week that goes by, Deion Jones' salary that Denver would incur keeps going down because his base salary gets paid out weekly. Let's take a deeper dive, though, at Jonas Griffith and Alex Singleton while we kind of focus in on this inside linebacker room because we have not seen Josey Jewell yet this season. And Singleton, like I said, I think has been the better inside linebacker. He has been, first off, way more of a downhill linebacker than I think all of us were expecting. I mean, we're talking about a guy who, if he sacks Geno Smith and Will Dissly doesn't score that touchdown, this is a 2-0 football team potentially. But Jonas Griffith still working back from that elbow injury. He hasn't been bad. That's not what this is about. Just hasn't been as good as Singleton, in my opinion. And I never thought I would be saying those words. Deion Jones, on the other hand, has not played yet this season. The Falcons started this year by putting him on IR, which means he would miss the first 4 games of the season. maybe this is a ploy/tactic to get him healthy so they can trade him healthy and not have him play, get hurt, and not be able to get anything. Because Atlanta, they've looked frisky through the first 2 weeks of the season. They're not a playoff team. The Falcons know this. If a team wants to offer something decent for him, I'm guessing they're going to be entertaining a trade idea for a player who had 4.5 sacks 2 seasons ago. Sure, he's declining a little bit, and he isn't that stud out of LSU that he was back in his earlier days, but he could still definitely come in and help this Broncos linebacker crew. All right, let's switch gears here. Let's get to the offensive side of the football now. What about Nelson Agholor? Again, it's a lot of, I never thought we would be having this conversation because the biggest strength of this Broncos depth chart a couple weeks ago before Tim Patrick got hurt was the depth they had at wide receiver. Here we are now, and it got pretty skinny all of a sudden. Courtland Sutton is the only healthy, really, one of the bunch. Jerry Jeudy working back from that shoulder rib injury. That's not a long-term concern for me, but KJ Hamler, after playing in week 1, was shut down in week 2. I just get the sense of Hamler's not going to be the second-round pick he was for quite some time. He might be active, and he might go out and play a couple snaps here and there, but he's not going to be that speed demon for the foreseeable future. Montrell Washington kind of got the cobwebs out of his system in week 1. He's looked nice so far since then, but let's be honest. This Broncos wide receiver room, this Broncos team needs to help out Nathaniel Hackett in any way possible, and getting a weapon like Nelson Agholor who can stretch the field for you might be something George Paton looks into. He's not a very sexy trade option, but the Broncos aren't in a position to make sexy trades because they don't have anything really valuable to give up. You know, they don't have a ton to bring to the table without a first and without a second-round pick. So if a trade happens at this point, I'm not expecting a blockbuster trade. I would expect a much more low-key trade for someone like Nelson Agholor. So far this season with New England, 9 grabs, 138 yards. He had a long touchdown, 44-yard score against the Steelers this past Sunday. He's got the knock of he can't catch anything. He's got cinder blocks for hands. I think he's kind of quietly moved on from those days when he was with the Philadelphia Eagles. All right, before we get to the rest of my trade ideas, we are on the road to 10,000 subscribers here at the channel. I need your help. I need 772 of you guys to go ahead and subscribe if you have not already. We give you guys daily free Broncos content, so if that's something you're interested in, make sure you join the channel. Trade idea number 4. What about helping out the interior offensive line? Michael Schofield, offensive lineman. Another deal, another brokerage with the Chicago Bears. Because of the Quinn Miners injury, it makes a little bit of sense. Now, Miners was a participant, limited, but a participant during Thursday's practice. So that's a good step in the right direction. But my ultimate thesis when it comes to trading for a player like Michael Schofield, who was a big-ish, not really, free agent signing for the Bears early in training camp, and then he sort of lost the job, and now he's the next man up in an interior offensive lineman for the Bears, is Graham Glasgow, this movie's over. You know, it's not been pretty. Since he came in for Miners in the first half against Seattle, it's been clear and obvious why the Broncos said, take a pay cut or we're moving on. And even then, we're going to go with the young guy Belly. So he has not looked like someone where if the Broncos need a guard for a handful of weeks, I'm not confident in Glasgow. That's just my take on it. All right, before we send you guys on your way, Sunday Night Football, baby. Predict the score. Broncos versus the 49ers from Mile High. I wish I could pick the Broncos, but my gut says no. I'm going to go with the 49ers in this one. I can't have Denver going 17-0 this year, and frankly, I think this 49ers team with Jimmy Garoppolo is better than Trey Lance, and the murmurs out of Santa Clara is the rest of the locker room and roster, they prefer Jimmy G. So with that, I'm going to go with the 49ers, 27-17. I feel like a huge Monday meltdown is coming if the Broncos really botch this one at home on Sunday night under the big lights with the entire country watching. All right, that's going to do it for us on today's show. I appreciate everyone that tuned in and made us a part of your day. We'll see you all later with more Broncos coverage.